Hello, welcome again to the YouTube presentation of Papa Lee and the Aliens. I am your host and narrator, Henry Lee Chenault, aka Mystery Answer Man, aka Papa Lee. Today's episode is entitled Old as Methuselah. To begin with, I guess you noticed I shaved my beard. I have a new look. I've got a sweatband on because it's 100 degrees outside. It's the middle of July. We can't run the air conditioner because it's too noisy, so this is how I'm going to look for the next few sessions. Like I say, today's episode is entitled Old as Methuselah. When we left the last episode, Adam and Eve were heading north with all their animals to the Black Sea. They would be following the Kilsneck River. We'll show you this right here. Remember, this is a map of the rivers, the Pison, the Gihon, Hiddekel, and the Euphrates here. The Arisidaisi volcano was here, where the Garden of Eden was. Adam and Eve are going to leave the garden, and they're going to go up to this Kelkertsi River here, and they're going to follow it probably for the next 100 years till they get down to the Black Sea, and that's where they're going to make their home. Remember that there are lots of Homo sapiens around, as well as a few cannibalistic Cro-Magnon. The Neanderthals have been eliminated. Homo sapiens are found around the world, including North and South America. One must remember that these Homo sapiens are not spirit-filled, and that they have all evolved from the first Australopithecus hybrids in South Africa created by the Greys. The Greys have their mining camp in subterranean Antarctica now. The sons of God are not about to abandon their rich mineral rights claims to this section of the Middle East. They will embark upon a new adventure in the next episode to again secure their claim. It is important for you to see the power struggle that has been developing over the mineral rights claims on Earth. The Greys like the arrangement of bartering gold to the sons of God in exchange for technology. They have desperately wanted the biological genetic code to develop a Sylvian fissure in their species. This would enable the Greys to possess the Holy Spirit, to have control over antimatter hydrogen, and to engage in intergalactic travel. Presently, the Greys are trapped on this Earth. They could be gods in their new worlds. This Cold War between the sons of God and Greys have now taken on a new player. That new player is the hybrid Homo sapiens with a living spirit. He will now compete against the sons of God and the Greys. The new man will try to claim Earth as his own. What I want to do in this chapter is for you to get acquainted with the family tree or genealogy of Adam up to Abraham in the Bible. Here goes. The time is 5000 BC. The setting is the Kilketyesil River Delta on the Black Sea, close to the present-day town of Samsun, Turkey. The water level of the Black Sea is 300 feet below today's level because of the mini ice age in Europe. Located off the present-day coast of Turkey lies an underwater mountain range extending from the towns of Samsun to Sinope. This mountain range in Adam's time created a valley between the coastline and the mountain range. The valley had running fresh water for fishing and great land for farming and grazing livestock. This valley was the home of all the first 10 patriarchs from Adam up to and including Noah. So I want to show you here. This is a map here. I'm going to show you. This is the Kilkit River. I can't pronounce it. Sinope is here, and Samsun is actually right here. Off the coast here is a mountain range. And when Adam was there, I'll walk over here real slowly. The water level was 300 feet below what it is now. And this is the mountain range that was there. And this is the valley that was formed. It's kind of like Napa Valley in California. It's very much like that. But anyway, this valley here is where Adam is going to set up, and that's where the next 10 patriarchs are going to live for the next 2,000 years. And that's where all of their descendants will be. So this is the main thing to remember, is the mountain range and the valley. And the water level is 300 feet below what it is today. On Adam and Eve's travel from the Garden of Eden down the Kilketyesil River, Eve became pregnant. They had been tending the garden for over 1,000 years. Now, without the Garden of Eden's environment, their pineal gland began to atrophy, and the onset of puberty occurred. Eve had a set of twins, Cain and Abel. Cain grew up to be a farmer. Abel was a herdsman of sheep. Cain was extremely jealous of Abel. Cain kills Abel and is cast out to the land of Nod. The land of Nod is the region between the Tigris and Euphrates headwaters in the vicinity of today's Karakidagi volcano. I'll show you this on this map right here. This is where the Garden of Eden was when they were cast out. They moved up here. Eve became pregnant, and Cain killed Abel, and Cain was cast out into this region out here. He's going to be out here in this area. Karakidagi volcano is right here in this area. And God protects Cain by putting a mark upon him. The mark was leprosy, which bleached his hair white. People, seeing him at a distance, would avoid him. He was safe from harm. Cain found a wife, a non-spirit-filled Homo sapien. They had children. Their clan and offspring would grow in numbers. They would spread down the region of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Cain's offspring will be born with the right sylvian fissures, and the new hybrid species of man would start spreading over the region. After 2,000 years, Cain's descendants became the Sumerians. Being descendants of Adam, God found favor with the Sumerian people. Through the sons of God, the Sumerians were taught the art of metallurgy, irrigation, and art. Astraceus, in the Sumerian history, quotes, "After the great flood, 7 wise men appeared like fish from the sea. The wise men helped the inhabitants of the land, the Sumerians, to build the city of Uruk. The art of farming and irrigation was given to the people by the 7 sages. The Sumerians were taught the use of gold, copper, and silver." When in that statement there from the history of Astraceus, it said that 7 wise men appeared like fish from the sea. And what I believe they meant there is that these men actually had scales, and these were actually the sons of God. And the sons of God, if you remember, are reptilians, and they're covered with small scales, because there was no sea around that area close. So I think they're trying to describe what the men looked like. But they built the city of Uruk. The city of Uruk is in Iraq, and this is Iraq right here, Baghdad. The city of Uruk was right around in this area right here. So Cain was sent out to the land of Nod. He came out this area. After 2,000 years, all of his descendants, they were all born with a right sylvian fissure, so they possessed the spirit, or the antimatter helium souls. They came down in between the Tigris and Euphrates River here, and they formed the Sumerian civilization. And that's how the Sumerians got started. So what about the genealogy of Adam? With Abel dead and Cain living in the land of Nod, Adam and Eve finally make it to the valley along the Black Sea. When Adam was 135 years old, I want to say here that keeping record of Adam's age did not start until he was cast out of Eden. He was about 1,000 years old when he was cast out of Eden. Seth was born. Adam and Eve have more children until Adam dies at 930 years of age. Special note here. Paleontologists estimate that the early Homo sapiens, not spirit-filled, had life expectancies of 35 to 40 years. Adam lived to be 930 years old because his pineal gland had been genetically altered by the sons of God to delay the onset of puberty. In addition, Adam had brought the seeds of the tree of life, the cherry tree, from the Sirius star system to help in their longevity. This can be seen in the ages of the patriarchs when they had their first male child. I'm not going to go over every one of these. I just want to, I'll show you the chart here. Adam was 130 years old when he had his first son. This dark area here is how old they were when they had their first son. They didn't keep count. If they had a girl first, they didn't keep count of that. They only keep count of the boys, so because that's their heirs. Over here is how old they lived. I'm going to show you from here down to Adam. You'll see that they were over 100 years old on most of them. So here's a couple here that were 65 to 90 years of age. Enoch was 65. And that was how old Noah was 500 years old when he had his triplets. So he may have had other daughters, but it didn't mention those in the Bible. And also, they did not get on the ark. So he was actually 500 years old when he had his first children. You can see how old they lived, 930 years. Of course, Methuselah is what the chapter is named after. He was the oldest. He lived to be 969 years old. Enoch never died. He was actually taken up by the sons of God and was instructed in their culture. So we're going to get down here to Noah, And after Noah, you're going to find out that the great flood did several things. It wiped out the cherry tree, for one thing, in the valley, because that was one of the things that was helping with their longevity. The other thing that is after the flood, men were allowed to eat meat. And with this ingestion of meat from cattle and lamb and sheep and goats and things like that, hormone levels were in those meats. They began to live shorter and shorter lives. So after Noah, I want you to see here, they started having their children younger. They started having them at 35 years of age, 32, 30, all the way down to 29. And then Abraham, of course, is the last patriarch, and he's the father of the Hebrew religion, so Hebrew nation anyway. Over here, you can see how their lifespan got shorter and shorter. Actually, you can't because I didn't. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. 403 years of age, and then after that, it continued on down to 119, 205, 145. So after Noah's flood, there was a dramatic change in the onset of puberty. It started setting, onset of puberty started at a younger age, and the life spans also became greatly shortened. So if you ever want to go back to that, you can go back and study that. I'm going to flip over here. We talked about Noah. Okay, we talked about the change. I'm going to read you this. After the great flood, Noah and his clan was instructed to eat meat as part of their diet. This comes from Genesis 9, 1 through 6. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb in the Garden of Eden have I given you all things. In addition, like I said, the cherry tree, the tree of life, growing in the Patriarchs Valley, was destroyed by the great flood. Noah was not instructed to take any plants with him on the ark. He was only instructed to take live animals. Surviving cherry trees in the region of the Garden of Eden would mutate and crossbreed with other species of fruit and would lose its capacity to prolong life. Genesis 6:3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. What he's saying there is 120 years is the maximum that man can live. All of these events would change the onset of puberty drastically because of the presence of hormones in the meat of their new diet. Without the cherry tree, the tree of life, the next 10 patriarchs would lose their longevity. We talked about the last 10 patriarchs. So there you have it. Boring, but somewhat interesting at the same time. So there's two things with which I want you to take with you. First, that men did truly live incredibly long times before the Great Flood. This was due mainly to genetic engineering of Adam and Eve's pineal gland. This delayed puberty and aging. This healthy diet of the cherry tree, or the tree of life, was the other factor that helped prevent heart disease and therefore increased longevity. After the Great Flood, man would eat meat. The tree of life would become extinct because of the saltwater environment of the Black Sea. The second thing to remember is that man is only to live 120 years. Love your family and friends and enjoy every moment that you can. That completes this episode. The next episode will be a lot more fun. We're going to learn about Atlantis, where it's located, how it was built, why it was built, what good things came out of Atlantis, and how it was destroyed. So I'm going to say, see you next episode. Good night. Papa Lee signing off. The Lord is my shepherd. Bye.